Mr. Kazmark, will you call the meeting to order, please?
Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council for December 16th, 2010 to order. On roll call, Council members Catamagna.
Here.
Castiglia.
Here.
Cherwinski.
Here.
Bonsino.
Here.
Work.
Here.
Councilman Conboy is absent. Mayor Moore.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for our prayer and flag salute? O God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting with we trust your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires the commencement of every meeting, a statement by the presiding officer, now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements of this meeting have been met by posting an annual notice in the Record and the Herald News, by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk and in the public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2010. Mr. Kazmark, Mr. Councilman Conboy has just arrived.
Mayor, tonight, under the approval of minutes, we have the regular meeting of December 4th, 2010, and the executive session of December 9th, 2010.
Motion on the December 4th meeting, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Bonsino, second by Mr. Castiglia. All in favor? Opposed? So ordered. And the executive session, December 9th, 2010. A motion, please. Mr. Bonsino, second by Mr. Castiglia. Any discussion?
Mayor, when it's time to vote, I'm going to abstain on the 9th. I wasn't here.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, Council members Catamagna.
Yes.
Castiglia.
Yes.
Cherwinski.
Yes.
Bonsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Conboy.
Abstain.
Mayor, this evening under ordinances, we have ordinance 10-19 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance to Fix the Salary, Wage, and Compensation of the Officers and Employees and Servants of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey," and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, December 2nd, 2010, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance to Fix the Salary and Wage and Compensation of the Officers, Employees, and Servants of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey," pass on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open to the public.
Motion to open it.
So moved.
Mr. Cherwinski, Mr. Castiglia. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Anyone in the audience who wish to be heard on this one? Please come to the microphone. Your name and address.
Laura Tracy Cole, 41 Washington Avenue. In regard to this ordinance, I have some questions because I'm a little puzzled. On the 2009 ordinance, you set salaries for positions such as the health officer. You set that salary at $78,000. However, the pension record of 2009 shows that salary that they $83,000. For the tax collector position, last year set the salary at $78,000, and the pension record showed that he made $96,000 one job. That's an $18,000 difference. You also set the salary of the superintendent of the DPW at $90,000, and his pension record showed that he made $96,000. Can you explain this?
Keith, do you have any answer to that?
Through you, Mayor, the base salary that is set by salary ordinance and is presented to the council this evening is for all monies earned other than longevity. So those employees who are entitled to longevity, and there have been efforts made under both union contracts and with regard to non-union department head employees, that longevity is no longer offered. But some still have longevity based on the time in which they were hired and the agreement that was provided to them at that time. So those differences, those deltas in the salaries that you just mentioned would be attributed to that. However, with regard to the tax collector, I don't believe that those numbers would be accurate because that jump is significant and that would not be a number that would constitute only a longevity increase.
Okay, so can someone investigate it and get back to me on that one?
Well, I'm unclear on where you got the number relative to the pension record.
Well, there's several pension records posted on the internet. This one, New Jersey Public Employees Database, 2009. This is pension employees. 88 employees for Elmwood Park. This is not including the police. I can, give it to you and you can look
To
at it.
verify the source, I can tell you that some of those websites that are posted in order to provide the public with information are not always 100% accurate. I don't think it would be applicable in this case, but in many cases, the data is old data from prior years. I know, for example, the one on the Asbury Park Press, a lot of that data is from 2008. But the
That would
number
be
that you,
terrible if
the
it was,
number that
because
you,
that would be 2 years back.
the number that you referenced with the tax collector, off the top of my head, does not sound accurate, but I would be glad to look into it and see why those numbers are so far apart.
Okay, with the longevity, you said that they no longer offer longevity, but on this ordinance, do you have that written down here? Because I realize employees hired after 1/1/09 are maxed out at 6% longevity. That's not getting rid of longevity, that's capping it from 8% to 6%.
Employee who was hired after January 1st, 2007 is not eligible for longevity.
Okay, but that's not what the ordinance says. Section 4, longevity. All full-time employees shall be entitled to longevity. Employees hired after 1/1/09 are maxed at 6% longevity upon completion of the 5th year, or whatever, But they definitely, my mic went out. They definitely have a schedule here for longevity, and it doesn't say that new employees are not entitled to longevity.
Their contract has that.
Hmm?
Their contract has it indicated. They are not eligible.
So what supersedes, the ordinance or the contract?
The ordinance takes care of everybody who is presently working for us that was hired before the last contract with the DPW, which was 3 years ago. So they will get
So,
longevity.
say you made a
Anybody hired
contract-
after that will not get longevity.
So if you made a contract for certain terms, and you want to give a more generous, maybe raise or longevity, you can certainly do that. Your contract only binds you to meet a minimum requirement. So if the contract said there was no longevity and you decide to give it, you would write it in this ordinance, and it would be,
No, it's in the contract. Yes.
yeah.
The mayor and council would not be able to abrogate the terms of a contract. The contract binds both parties. So the mayor and council would not be able to give a more generous offer to anyone without renegotiating the contract.
Okay, I want to make sure, because it's not written like that in the ordinance. And the records I see show more money is made by the employees than what's in the ordinance. So, I've always asked you to suspend that longevity, and I hope that you truly are doing it. Last time I spoke to you, I guess it was a couple of years ago, I did ask you to suspend the raises and to suspend longevity to save jobs and not lay off people. But that wasn't done, and now we had to lay off people, and we have to lose police through attrition. That's not, for me, that's less services for the taxpayer with the same taxes, or even more increased taxes. Little people like me cannot afford to finance your big spending like these raises you're going to approve tonight. I think that you should freeze all the salaries, except for those making $50,000 a year in one full-time job. You must make real cuts to reduce property taxes now. And it's my opinion that the positions in this ordinance prove to me that you spend money too frivolously, not frugally. For example, in our recreation department has one director, one recreation leader, which is a new title that was created, I guess, over the last couple of years, one summer camp director, 2 clerks, or perhaps 3, a new custodian position that you just established. You have a council liaison, a board of advisors, you have online registration. You have more supervisors in the recreation department than the police department. Due to financial reasons, I believe that we should eliminate the rec director's position. That would save us $65,000. I deal with the rec assistants. They're very capable, they're nice people, and I believe they could do the rec's job. In the health department, we have one full-time health officer, one principal clerk typist, one registrar, at least 2.
Do you have any other questions on the ordinance? You can come back again
This
later.
is on the ordinance, because I would like you to eliminate certain positions off that ordinance. You have 2 public health nurses, 1 sanitation inspector. I think we should eliminate the health officer position due to financial trouble. We could pay $12,000 to Bergen County Health Department to cover the health officer's requirements. That would save us $80,000 plus pensions. I deal with the health officer's assistant. She's very nice, and I believe she's very capable. 5 Bergen County towns share a common health officer, Sam Yangovich. 6 Bergen County towns use the towns use the Bergen County health facilities. 2 use Mid-Bergen. 1 uses Bergen Regional, and they all seem to be doing very well. Another position, according to the Bergen Record in 1998, we hired a CFO to replace Mr. Rykowski, who was then the CFO, or the city manager, and the tax collector. My mic keeps going off. He was the tax collector job. At that time was supposed to be a temporary job until the CFO got his certification as tax collector. Today, we pay the tax collector $96,000 and the CFO $105,000. I think it would be possible to merge these jobs together and save either the $96,000 or the $105,000. Due to financial trouble, I believe one person could be the tax collector, the treasurer, and the CFO. And with this total of $214,000 in savings, I think we would be able to reinstate our crossing guards. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard?
Mayor, through you, Ms. Rudman, I just want to make it known that this is
I'm
on...
sorry.
This public session is exclusively for the salary ordinance. So if
Yes,
that's what you'd
we're
like to speak to,
ordinance-
by all means, but I just don't want to confuse the public.
For ordinance 1019? Yes, I have a few questions. Arlene Perna Rudman, 1 Paul Court. Why aren't the pension and the health benefits where they were appropriate not mentioned in the ordinance, not listed in the ordinance?
Everyone gets a health benefit. If they're full-time, everyone gets a health benefit. That's not their part of their salary.
It's not part of their salary. But, I think we'd like to know, obviously, not everyone gets health benefits, correct?
A full-time employee.
Every full-time employee gets health benefits.
Unless they have a husband or wife that's collecting.
Right, unless they choose not to. Okay. And pension as well,
Everybody has a pension if they're full-time.
full-time. Okay. And I'm sorry, I came in late and I'm not hearing too well. But I don't know what Mrs. Cole said. But why does the CMFO, as a part-time employee,
He's full-time.
he's a full-time employee?
Yes, that's a chief financial officer.
He's full-time, yet he works in other districts. I mean, it's not his only job. It is a full-time job.
Yes.
Because I wanted to ask why his salary was so high. And longevity. The longevity seems rather high to me. I mean, having worked on the Board of Education and with the contracts, I mean, teachers, after 15 years, get approximately 1% longevity. And after 21 years, 2%. And the administrators, after 15 years, 1%, and after 29 years, 2%. So, I mean, I feel that 8% is kind of high for longevity.
To your question, the DPW, as was indicated earlier, any new person now that's hired in the DPW does not get longevity.
But
The police department, that's binding arbitration when we can't agree, and the binding arbitrator just refuses to do anything about the longevity.
oh, and
I don't disagree with you.
so, but they get 6%, right?
They get 8.
They're grandfathered at 6%. So, I mean, that's still, I think that's a pretty high rate when you think about it. And well, I was wondering, the police department isn't included in this ordinance?
They have their own contract.
They have their own contract. That was another question.
Everybody in 2010 has gotten paid except these few people, many of them were part-time. They didn't get a raise for 2010, but everyone else in the employee of the borough has gotten a raise.
Okay.
So we're just keeping up with that. These people deserve a raise in 2010 since everybody else has gotten one in 2010, and it's budgeted for 2010.
All right. The other thought I had was the recreation leader and the, whatever it is, assistant or whatever. There were 2 people in the recreation department. Were they involved with the aftercare program? Now, were they getting extra?
Program, and Mr. Conboy is more conversant than I am on this. It wasn't our idea to close it down.
No, I know that, but I mean, their salaries, I mean, were they getting paid extra for that? And is that included? They
We
weren't.
paid for the
Okay.
aftercare. And we're using, one of the people who worked in recreation is now working downstairs in the violations department part-time. So we have used quite a few people, as was mentioned many times before. I believe it was about 15 people in the last 3 years have left employment here in Elmwood Park, and we have not replaced them. Or we've replaced them at a much lower salary. So we're bare bones up here. And when people leave the secretarial staff and you don't replace them, then when, like, one girl got hurt, one lady got hurt, and she's out the same time that somebody in her department put in for a vacation, and she couldn't cancel a vacation. So we have 2 people doing everything, and they're including the CFO.
All right. We're only addressing this right now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wish to be heard? I'm sorry, on this ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
Claire Kalinowski, 204 Roosevelt Avenue. Just looking for some clarification. You gentlemen are not salary, correct?
We are,
Council also?
yes.
Okay. So you receive benefits in your salary?
No.
Nope.
Well, I'm looking for some clarification. So what do you receive?
5,000.
Just the salary.
Salary. You don't get paid benefits?
I don't get it, no.
Nope.
Is it true in part of this ordinance that you're all looking to get a $5,000 stipend?
Yes, wait, you're right. Here it's $5,000, not addition. That's what we've been getting.
For the year, that's the salary.
Through you, Mayor, when you look through that ordinance, Mrs. Kalinowski, the only employees that did not receive any percentage increase, and that has been consistent since my employment here, has been the members of the mayor and council. So that stipend has stayed the same since going back to at least 2006, because I came on board in 2007.
So you don't receive a percentage, you receive a flat rate every year?
Yes, and it's been consistent that way since at least 2006.
Can you give me an idea of what a present salary is for a councilman?
That's it, $5,000.
Whatever's in there,
$5,000, that's it.
That's it.
Well, in Elmwood Park.
Yeah.
In Elmwood Park, yeah. Other towns may get more. Oh, yeah.
Garfield, I
we're
believe
talking about
Garfield gets about 10 or 11. Excuse me, please.
Elmwood Park, some, New York get better, right?
Okay, that's what I was looking for clarification. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
May I have a motion to close the, wait a minute, I'll call on you. I'll call on you. Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? Yes, Ms. Cole.
You almost sounded like you were going to close the meeting.
I was. Not the meeting, the ordinance.
New York.
On the pension records, I have 88 employees, not including the police. And does anyone know how many employees are in the DPW?
Approximately 19.
Okay, so if you take away 20 employees, 2 fire, oh no, just the 20 employees from the 88, because it still doesn't include the fire inspectors, you would have,
That's not on the ordinance.
no, I'm asking how many employees do you
Now,
have?
if you want to speak on the ordinance, we'll entertain that.
Well, this is
If
the
you want
ordinance.
to- If you want to come back, I'll allow you to come back again.
This ordinance probably covers the largest amount of employees in the whole
No,
borough.
it doesn't. Not at all.
Well, this
Whatever
pension
you
records...
see on that-
Okay, so if you take away 20 employees, 2 fire, oh no, just the 20 employees from the 88, because it still doesn't include the fire inspectors. So that's my question, how many people exactly does it cover? You would have...
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 28 people.
And-
No,
and-
yeah, 28.
And through you, Mayor, some of those people have dual titles, such as the police chief, who is also the OEM director, myself, who's also the rent leveling board secretary, et cetera, et cetera.
No, there are more than that. There's some on the second page.
So basically,
But when you have a position such as clerk typist, that covers, thank you, various clerk typists, senior clerk typists.
Through you, Mayor, clerk typist falls under the category of the white-collar collective bargaining negotiation contract. So they are not included in the ordinance that's presented this evening.
Clerk typists aren't included. Senior clerks are not included. Deputies are not included.
Clerk receives a stipend, which is listed in that ordinance, which is given to her for the title of deputy clerk, but she holds a civil service title of senior clerk typist, which is covered under the white-collar collective bargaining.
Okay, now my next question is, you have this contract with your white-collar workers that expire on December 31st. So wouldn't you wait until you settle that contract to have an ordinance for raises?
Through you, Mayor, no, because the 2010, this raise that is being considered by the mayor and council tonight to be adopted is for calendar year 2010.
it's not for 11.
So the employees who are listed on that salary ordinance, which are essentially department heads and anyone who is non-union or part-time, those people have not received a raise for calendar year 2010, whereas the police department, the Department of Public Works employees, and all of the white-collar employees who are covered under that contract all received raises for calendar year 2010 on January 1st of 2010. So these folks who you see before you tonight will receive a retroactive check if this ordinance is adopted that will cover their salary increase for this calendar year.
So then the pension records are way higher than what they're earning.
Respectfully, I can't
All right,
speak
well,
to the pension record information
No, we can
because
research
I'm
it.
not sure, and I have every reason to believe you got it from what you believe to be a reputable location, but I would need to compare those to the official pension records, which are in the payroll department here at Borough Hall.
And this ordinance would also cover people like public defenders and all the court workers? And you're saying that's only 20?
Not all the court workers, but the professionals who we utilize as the prosecutor, the public defenders, those positions, yes. The clerical staff and the court administrator fall under the white-collar contract, which, as you point out, will expire at the end of this calendar year.
So you're saying it's still, how many employees for this ordinance? 28?
I'll be honest, I don't have an exact number off the top of my head. I'd be
Including
glad-
all the court personnel, all the and the library people, and the DPW secretary, and the secretary in your office, and the mayor's secretary, and...
All, that whole list that you just articulated fall into a wide variety of different categories. The library board has exclusive power to be able to enact a salary ordinance for their personnel without having to come before the mayor and council.
Okay, this is interesting to
Many
know.
of those individuals that you just mentioned fall under the white-collar contract. The only recreation department individual who falls under this ordinance that you're looking at tonight, I'm sorry, there are two, is the recreation director and the recreation leader. And I would like to clarify that with regard to the recreation leader position, when I came in, I was charged by the mayor and council at the time to review every civil service title that was assigned to every employee in this borough. Some people, in my opinion, were not classified properly. Their job description, as presented by civil service, was not compatible with what their job duties at that particular time were. And that was one of the positions that I recommended to the mayor and council, changing the title, because what that individual was doing was not reflected in the title that they had under civil service.
Okay, and then that became a pensioned position? It may not have been before?
Any employee who makes over $7,500 is considered pensionable.
And under the contract, people with titles get $2,300 more for having a title. It said title positions will receive an increase.
There's no additional compensation because you have a title. Everyone has a title. Whether it's civil service is not or not is a different matter.
Okay, so I have more on, I guess, this wouldn't carry, like, how many hours a day people work, because it's come to my attention that our employees work six and a half hours with an hour lunch. So that's not going to be handled under this ordinance. I can talk about that later when you're talking about the contracts.
If you'd like to touch on that matter, that would fall under the regular public hearing.
Okay, so then not this ordinance anymore. Oh, but vacation time would, and things like that, because that's in the ordinance, right? Vacation, sick time.
That's not in this ordinance.
Each contract.
Yeah, I seen it at the end, the vacation schedule and the sick time schedule.
That's just for these people.
Okay, so my point is that, we're the average guys who have to pay for these benefits, and you're very generous with our money, and, we can't have it anymore. We can't afford our property tax. We need to reduce property taxes. Right now, borough employees have 14 and a half holidays. The rest of us who fund you get about 10 official federal holidays. So you could shorten the holiday schedule by 4.5 days. Vacation, you offer up to 6 weeks for 30 days for long-term employees. I'd like to tell you that 2 or 3 weeks is customary for vacation. The hours in the day, EP workers, except for DPW and police, work 32.5-hour week, 6 hours a day with an hour lunch, paid lunch. The average worker works 8 hours a day with an unpaid half-hour lunch. And tenure, I understand certain people receive tenure. Tenure is something that I have never really heard of in the private industry, that you would promise a person a job. The last comment I would say is the funny thing about government positions is the only position where you could vote for your boss. And I think that really, skews it not in favor of the taxpayers. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? If not, I'll close the public portion of the meeting.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I'm sitting here thinking, gentlemen, I too, being an elected state official, I'm curious to know, I'm sitting here and I'm giggling in my head, what would the mayor and council say if members of the Board of Ed asked for $5,000 a year? I mean, we're elected officials who are serving our community, and here, you receive compensation. Members of the Board of Education receive no compensation. They work just as diligently as all of you do. Serve on probably more committees. Our budget is much larger, and it's the only budget that's voted on. And here you are giving yourselves $5,000 each. Just curious as to, what anybody has to say about that.
That's been the salary ordinance here for many, many years. You
And
want
you
to
have
vote?
it in your power to change that.
Yes, they do.
And I think that that would be it's a disservice to the community to continue giving yourself a stipend or a salary for being a service to your community.
Thank you.
And I'm a taxpayer here also, so that's coming from that side of me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? If not, I'll close the public portion of the meeting.
Through
May
you,
I have
Mayor,
a motion?
can I just make one comment with regard to Ms. Cole's comment regarding tenure? Tenure is statutory. This council has no ability to eliminate tenure for those employees who are eligible for tenure after they complete their first term and are reappointed. There are also statutory positions, the CFO, the tax collector, the municipal clerk, the assessor. That's established by state law. So if there are tenure concerns, that would be better directed towards the members of the state legislature rather than to the governing body here. Thank you, Mayor.
No, no. The meeting is closed. I closed the meeting. I closed the meeting. May I have a motion on the budget, please?
So much.
Moved by Mr. Chewinski on the ordinance. Second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Boncino. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Catamagna,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Truinski,
Yes.
Lonsino,
Yes.
Work,
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 316-10, introduce ordinance 10-20 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Rent Control, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, December the 2nd, 2010, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park entitled Rent Control pass on final reading.
Motion open to the public, please.
Hold on, Mayor, can I go back? I thought you were voting to not allow to close the public portion. My vote for ordinance 31510, it's no.
Okay.
Vote for that.
May I have a motion to allow Mr. Catamagna to change his vote to no at this meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Mr. Castiglia, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Boncino. Call the roll, please.
On roll call to revisit Resolution 315-10, Ordinance 10-19 on second reading. Council members Catamagna,
Am I voting for this myself? Yes.
Okay.
your vote?
Yes.
This is to revisit.
Revisit.
Okay.
This is to
Castiglia.
reopen.
Change your vote to
That's
no.
it.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Truinski.
No.
Lonsino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Conboy.
This is on the revisit?
This is to have another vote following this vote.
No.
Motion carries. We would need a motion to adopt Resolution 315-10.
Same two people again.
Castiglia. Lonsino.
Yeah.
On roll call, council members Catamagna.
Hold on a second, which resolution are you working on?
You can vote no
Resolution-
if you want.
Resolution 315-10.
As Mr. Boncino said, you're not giving these fellows a Christmas present by paying their salary this year, by giving them the raise.
This is to adopt ordinance 10-19, which is to fix the salary and wage and compensation of the officers, employees, and servants of the borough on second reading. Council members Catamagna,
No?
Castiglia,
Yes.
Truinski,
Yes.
Lonsino,
Yes.
Work,
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 316-10 was read into the record, Mayor.
Excuse me, before you read that. The ordinance that was just passed, everyone in the borough, employed in the borough, received a salary increase in 2010, except these few people, and the major compensation is for department heads. So this council does not feel that everybody below the department head should get a raise, and the department head should not get a raise for 2010. 2011 can be revisited. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 316-10, introduce ordinance 10-20 on second reading relative to rent control, was
You
read into
read
the
that
record.
already.
I did. We need a motion and a second.
You have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Conboy, second. Mr. Work, any discussion? Anyone in the audience want to be heard?
We need a motion, Mayor.
Motion,
All in
those two
favor?
people are making the motion to open the meeting.
Got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. Anyone who wishes to be heard? If not, I'll close the public portion of the meeting.
No, this is just on the
This
order.
is exclusively on the matter of
Just
rent
on the
control.
ordinance. You're welcome. Anyone, any comments on this ordinance, gentlemen, on the council?
Yeah, maybe I should say a few words about this ordinance. Many years ago, I repeated myself year after year, and I know that I heard it from the tax collector that we had previously, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Sato also agrees with that. By having rent control, we lose between 500 to 600,000. Now, I don't have really all the facts that I could show you tonight, but it was told by them, they are experts. By, as I understand, those apartments, it's not because you want to raise the rent to them. I know that people pay very low rent, many of them, but quite a few of them pay high rent, because once somebody moves out, the owners are allowed to charge whatever they feel like. I know the young lady who lives in the apartment, the family, they have a 3-bedroom apartment, and she pays $2,000 a month. That's a lot of money. The older people could be there like 20, 30 years. They still pay about $400.
I don't think there's anyone there that pays 400.
Maybe a little more than that. Because and I understand them doing so, and we lose a lot of money. But we was told by these tax collectors, Mr. Smith, God bless his soul, and Mr. Ziller, God bless him.
Thank you.
So,
Anyone else want to? If not, call the roll, please.
Mayor, I need a motion to adopt.
No, I thought we did that.
Sorry.
Me and,
Count-
Work.
No, that was to
and
open
Mr.
to the
Work.
public.
No, that was for the motion, then open to the public. You got them both.
Conboy and Work. On roll call, council members Catamagna,
no,
Castiglia,
Yes.
Chewinski,
Yes.
Alcino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 317-10, introduce ordinance 10-21 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, entitled Construction and Building, and whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, December 2nd, 2010, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, entitled Construction and Building, pass on final reading. Mayor will need a motion to open it to the public on this ordinance.
Mr. Boncino, second.
Second.
Mr. Conboy, discussion. Anyone in the audience who wish to be heard? Close the public portion. May I have the same two people, Mr. Boncino, Mr. Conboy, I
Second.
believe it was, on the ordinance.
On roll call,
Any discussion?
should be, yes, Mayor. With Mr. Stravinsky and I, we discussed this, we negotiated this, but I still feel that, we charge a lot more than we did before. And because, according to what we're told, the law says we must charge the same amount of money as Rochelle Park. I mean, I was one of the people to negotiate this. I will vote yes on this, but again, it was more money than people used to pay before, and the way the economy is. And I guess, I don't know, if that's the law, I go with the law. I don't agree with the higher prices. Anyhow,
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes,
just for the record on those negotiations, some of our fees did in fact go up to coincide with Rochelle Park, and some of them did go down to
not
meet
that
some.
much, Rich.
There was give and take, frankly. It was-
Very little.
We can sit here and point them out if we want, but
Anyhow, it's okay. Look, I will vote for
Thank you.
this.
thank you. Call the roll,
we had no
please.
choice, so.
on roll call, council members Catamagna,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Chewinski,
Yes.
Alcino.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, tonight, under resolutions, we have the consent agenda Resolution 318-10, payment of bills. Resolution 319-10, confirmation of checks. Resolution 320-10, confirmation of payroll. Resolution 321-10, approved certified list of firefighter clothing allowance. Resolution 322-10, refund third-party tax lien. Resolution 323-10, refund third-party tax lien. Resolution 334-10, appoint Joseph Romeo, part-time custodian in the Recreation Center. That was due to a resignation. Resolution 325-10, rescind Resolution R-303, Emergency Chapter 159, H1N1 Health Grant in the amount of $37,547. Resolution 326-10, appoint real estate appraiser McNerney and Associates to conduct an appraisal of the Elmwood Terrace and Glenwood Terrace complexes. That's relative to a tax appeal matter. And Resolution 327-10, approve cancellation of water utility operating fund appropriated reserve for the Passaic Valley Sewer Commission.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Castiglia, second.
Second.
Mr. Chewinski, any discussion? Call the roll.
Oh, yes, Mayor, I just
Yes.
want to make one quick comment, if I may.
Yes?
Regarding R-32410, it was brought up by the public a little while ago that this was a newly created position, this part-time custodian. This was not a newly created position. This position's been there for a while. This is a replacement to the person who held it prior, and the person who held it prior to that was Mr. Cars, who had, passed away. So this is not a newly created position. It's been there, and it's just part-time.
Thank you, sir. Call the roll.
On roll call, council members: Catamagna,
Yes.
Castiglia,
Yes.
Chewinski,
Yes.
Monsino,
Yes.
Work,
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, under departmental reports this evening, we have the municipal court, the police department, the health department, the Department of Public Works, and the building department.
Motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Mr. Conboy and Mr. Boncino, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
There are no applications this evening, Mayor, so we're on to committee reports.
Committee reports, Mr. Catamagna?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor, the article I read in Community News about the mayor and council being in agreement with not to make the portion of Gilbert Avenue from Elm Street to the river one-way. You know that I'm against it. I am for to make one-way because I told you that I work right there. I live on Gilbert Avenue, and I see all those illegal turns that people make, and in order to avoid to go to River Road. And one of these days, and I mentioned that to you guys before, and also ask you to go down there in the morning and look for yourself how many illegal U-turn people make. And one of these days, we're going to have a casualty there. And why don't we prevent this before it happens? People, the reason why they don't go all the way down, because they have to wait a long time to get to river, because we understand River Road is a very busy road. In fact, I spoke to the chief in Grassalino, and I asked him, if they don't make one way, at least give us a policeman for 20 minutes just to go there, 7:45 until 8:05, and until to direct the traffic, because you understand the Gilbert Avenue is, I know it's very inconvenient to me. It was many, many years ago, but that's okay. I get used to that. Mine is one way, and I have to go all around to go back, Spidell, to go to my house. That's okay. Once you get used to it, there's nothing wrong. Now we talk about maybe inconvenient to some people there, and take a risk. A kid may get killed or they get hurt. I mean, it's not. I think those people there, I'm sure that they will get used to it.
Mr. Catamagna, my discussions recently with the police chief is he was going to have somebody down there and ticket those people who are making those turns.
All right, but what good is it going to do if you ticket them? Then you have a line from the river all the way to Spidell.
Because
people have to get back to work. See, we need the police, and we need that. The one way will take care of the illegal U-turn. But also, I think we need a cop over there, 20 minutes a day in the morning. Just put them over there and let them direct the traffic. This way, the traffic goes faster. It's only a few minutes. You don't need to put a guy there for hours and hours. I think it pays. You guys should consider this, I don't know. But again, I'm for one way, that little portion of
Thank you.
Gilbert Avenue. And also the high school, things are going really well. And we have now the student of the month, the pictures of the kids that are displayed by the main office. At least you see, it gives confidence for the kids, to achieve to the point. I think it's very important. I think now they have also the teacher of the month. I don't know how many months I have to wait to get a certificate. I'm not sure. Anyhow, thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caroline. Mr. Chewinski?
Just for the record, I thought we discussed this Gilbert Ave thing in detail at the work meeting, but just to reiterate my position, I'm neither for or against this ordinance without hearing from the whole neighborhood there, of all concerned residents, and the school board come down actually and talk to us. But in the meantime, we did authorize the police to go out and give tickets, Frank, just to calm it down. But we should get something out if they want to come forward and be heard. Because there's a great number of people on that block that would have to be an inconvenience for them to go to River Road. And for the life of me, I can't figure out when the school spent their $50 million, they didn't make a parallel lane or something to drop kids off there or something in the design of the project. The same on 16th Ave, that all could have been avoided by just another lane off to the side.
Well, that's another.
Yeah, but it's going to dump on our lap now. Okay, and in the meantime, this is our last meeting before Christmas, so happy and happy holidays to everyone out there. I attended the JIF meeting last night. The lost time accident frequency for the whole year is down, which is good. However, the workman's comp claims in the state of New Jersey are getting out of hand. And this year, JIF is going to institute a new program with the towns modeled after public service. It seems that public service took on a different model for their workman's comp claims with their workers, and it's been working. They cut their workman's comp down by about 35%. So they'll be instituting that soon, and we'll all have to attend. On another note, I went to the county meeting last night, and you can call it a lame duck meeting still because the Republican freeholders still don't have a say. There were 2 special meetings before that, which they spent numerous amounts of money, and last night another $27 million in last-minute spending and appointments. So if anybody's interested, I'll leave the list with the clerk so you can see where your county dollars are going. Oops, sorry. And last, I'd like to say congrats to Kathy Donovan, our new elect executive, for her choice of administrator. And also, we're in the process of sending a letter out to the chamber.
Excuse me. For those of you who don't understand Mr. Chewinski's humor and
I'm sorry, man.
his brother was appointed county administrator by Kathy Donovan, and he deserved the position. He's done a good job over the years.
And,
congratulations to Eddie.
Yeah. Last but not least, we have been working on a letter. We're trying to resurrect the Chamber of Commerce, and that should be going out shortly.
Thank you. Mr. Castiglia?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. As far as the borough planning goes, it's been pretty quiet. I mentioned 2 applications at a meeting that was earlier in the month. They've now been approved. We got a new bakery coming in next to Angelo's Pizza on Market Street. I'm looking forward to that. There's going to be a wine lounge opening up on Route 46 out near the Dunkin' Donuts there in that strip mall. It sounds pretty interesting too. We might have entertainment at night, like maybe an acoustic guitar. He's going to be serving light food. It's basically a bar, I guess. Drinks and light food, things like wraps and things like that. You could also rent the place on Sundays. He's going to have it available if you have a party and you want to rent the place. That'll be available on Sundays. So that looks pretty interesting. You see these places open up, get out there and check them out. Try to keep some business in town. Also on the DPW, today was the last day for picking up leaves at the curb. I got a couple of calls already. Today we announced it well in advance. December 16th was the last day for picking up leaves at the curb. They're starting to.
They can bring them down to DPW.
They can
on
bring them down.
Saturday?
Sure, if you have a way to get them down to the DPW, you can still do that any day during the week. Yeah, they're getting ready for snow now. That's another thing they're going to be working on. They're getting all the trucks prepared. Everything looks good so far. We're expecting a storm on Sunday. Some people said that it might be going south of us. I hope so. And the predictions we're getting is a rainy winter instead of a lot of snow. I hope that's true. But they're prepared down there anyway. They're working on that now. The only other thing I wanted to mention, if you drive around town, you might see quite a few fire hydrants that are being worked on, either replaced or repaired in one way or another. It seems like we had a little rash of our fire hydrants being knocked down by vehicles. I think it was 3 or 4 in the last 2 months, which seems to be kind of high to me. I don't know if there's something going on, but if anybody does hear anything about it, tell the right people, because it just sounds like a lot of fire hydrants to me, a lot of accidents. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boncino?
Yes, Mayor. In 2010, as members of the New Jersey SEM, we contracted to buy our gas and electricity from third-party suppliers, and we're realizing probably a 4 to 6% savings on those commodities. We're approaching the end of the annual contract for gas, which will be up first quarter of 2011. So we'll be looking to renew that, or the potential to renew that. The electricity is about 3 months behind that. But in 2011, there's an opportunity to maybe explore installing solar into our buildings at no cost to the borough. It would be installed through a third-party company. They would own the equipment. We would purchase the electricity. So that's something that we'll consider. Solar typically is something that is a high dollar value investment, and you typically don't get a payback in a period that you like it. So this is an attractive program, and we'll do our due diligence on that. Our ambulance corps acquired a new trailer, and the trailer will be stocked with various first aid supplies, heaters, generators, first aid equipment to be used on standbys at major accident scenes or emergency scenes. The funds to purchase the trailer were acquired through donations by about 10 businesses in town. So I'd like to thank those businesses for supporting our ambulance corps and our first responders. Then quickly, a note to our senior high school students. They're probably in the midst of trying to plan their future beyond high school and college applications and so forth. I know personally it's a stressful time, and I wish them the best of luck as they plan their future beyond Elmwood Park High School. And finally, happy holidays and a happy new year to everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Conboy?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to make 2 quick points regarding a topic that was brought up during the salary portion ordinance. I just want to comment that as far as the Recreation Department is concerned, the summer camp director is only a part-time position that's hired during the summer camp season, and that is covered through the fees that come in from that. And regarding the laying off of any people, it was recommended by someone from the public that we should let go of our recreation director. I'd just like to comment, other than one other person in that department that's full-time, she's the lowest paid, second to lowest paid person in that department. So just want to comment on that. Not that it was necessary, but just want to set the record straight. So if you're going to lay somebody off, it certainly wouldn't be the lowest paid person. Not that we want to lay anybody off, but not really a good plan to start at the lower tier. But and then the department head, who was looking for a raise, as all the department heads were. Again, I also would just like to wish, besides wonderful holidays, and we won't see you again until New Year's Day, a wonderful, happy New Year and a healthy one. For someone who was, one time unemployed for 15 months, been talking with a lot of residents that are out there. So now a lot of both the husband and wife are out of work. I feel for all of you, and I hope all of you all find wonderful jobs in the new year. So again, to everybody and all my colleagues up here, everybody in the audience, have a wonderful, happy holiday and a very blessed, happy new year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Work?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Elmwood Park Health Department is probably going to hold its last adult health clinic for the residents of Elmwood Park. And they'll also be offering the 4 free vaccines that are still available. And basically, the vaccines, and I'll hold this up, are the Pneumovax, okay, the Gardasil, the Menactra, and the Tdap. And basically, these are available for the next... Got it? Okay. And this next adult consultation will be held on December 21st. That's a Tuesday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the municipal building. The Elmwood Park Health Department also held a Family Health Day on December 6th from 4 to 6:30. This Family Health included the offering of 4 free vaccines, the flu vaccine, along with the registration of New Jersey Family Care, and it was a tremendous success as over 200 residents came down to get their flu shot or to sign up for the New Jersey Family Care program or to get one of the free vaccines. And as I've stated in the past, the Elmwood Park Health Department has been enrolled as a provider in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act program this year, and they were awarded the Outstanding Recovery Reinvestment Act Award for demonstrating 100% compliance and participation and collaboration with the New Jersey Vaccines for Children program and for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And basically, this award reflects the hard work the public health nurses and the Elmwood Park Health Department has done in participating in this program. And let me just, where was I here? Sorry about this. Lost my papers here. But just to give you an idea of what the Elmwood Park Health Department has been doing, basically they raised approximately $107,000 up to November through fees collected for vital statistics, licenses and permits, court fines, and grants. And basically, just to go to show you that they are doing a good job. They're staying on top. And just to go over some real stats real quick of all these clinics. Basically, they had for the child health clinic, they had 72 visits, including 67 immunizations. Adult health clinic, 56 visits. The CMAC blood test, 138 attendees. We already, for those 4 free vaccines, we administered 35. Seasonal flu vaccines, roughly 400 people. And basically, it just goes to show how much work these health department is doing for the Elmwood Park residents. And last but not least, I would also like to congratulate the Elmwood Park Little League Division, a junior division team for its outstanding floorball season. In the 2010 Tri-Borough Junior Division Floorball League, the Elmwood Park team finished the season undefeated, won the championship, and their final record was 14-0. So I'd like to congratulate them. And I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Giblin? Thank you. The council may be aware that something was happening with Route 46, but you're not familiar with everything that's developed. The Parkway Authority came in and they wanted to discuss the merger that presently exists onto Route 46, just east of Pizza Town. What they're planning to do, and we had some of the people who owned some of the property along 46 from the Parkway exit, they're planning to take the shoulder that's presently there now and make that into a lane, an exit lane from the Parkway, and then add another lane as a shoulder so that they can get the traffic off the Parkway sooner. Presently, I'm told that they're lined up in the traffic lane on the Parkway from Market Street all the way down to Route 46. And that creates a problem, and there have been a variety of accidents that have taken place with the cars coming off the Parkway. I'm not sold on the fact that this will solve the problem. They certainly met with us. They met with homeowners, business owners, excuse me. Whether they're listening or not, I sincerely think that they have their plan and they're going to do it. I was very surprised to listen to them, and I questioned it. The police chief questioned it. Captain Diddick questioned it. Deputy Chief Palmieri questioned it. From the boulevard down to River Road, they claim it's 35 miles an hour, speed limit. I don't know. I've been exceeding it for 50 years or more.
Around 46.
There isn't a single sign between the boulevard and River Road saying 35 miles an hour. I question if there's a sign 35 miles an hour anywhere from the George Washington Bridge to River Road on Route 4. And I did ride by. There isn't any sign. I did go 35 miles an hour and had about 10 cars lined up behind me at 35. And everybody was passing me. And the police department was going down to check, and the representatives from the DOT, Department of Transportation, left the building to go back that way to see if there were any signs. I am presently trying to contact those people and ask them what they're going to do, because if they're going to put an extra lane in so that cars from the Parkway can exit more rapidly, you're going to have a problem with cars doing 50 miles an hour trying to get into Pizza Town or any of those other establishments that are there. So it is a serious problem, especially for the businesses, and it's a serious problem for the Parkway. If they're lined up that far on the Parkway, it's not only serious, but it's dangerous. I did go on Route 80 yesterday, and just to get off Route 80 to go on the Parkway in Saddlebrook, they're lined up all the way to Lodi, trying to get off that Parkway. So it'd be interesting to see what they come up with. I am not in favor of this present plan. I think it might be more dangerous, and you might have more accidents, but nothing else was expressed by them, so I think it's a plan that they've looked at, and I think that's what they're going to do. And I'm glad Pizza Town and some of the other areas that were there at the meeting voiced their opinion, and I don't know how they're going to handle that. So these are some of the traffic problems that we have. So at this time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public. If there's anyone in the public who wishes to be heard, could you give us your name again, please?
Claire Kalinowski, 204 Roosevelt Ave. First of all, to address the council, my first question in reference to Gilbert Avenue. Has any council member gone down to Gilbert Avenue or the mayor and actually observed traffic flow
I was there today.
in the morning and/or afternoon?
Yes.
Okay, because I know that Mr. Tomko has invited everyone to go down, take a look. As a parent, I sit on that street every day to pick my son and 3 neighbor children up. I could tell you every day I see about 8 kids almost get hit by a car. Having a 2-way flow of traffic there is ridiculous. You can't fit 2 cars. I can't tell you how many times my mirror has almost gotten ripped off my car. Thank God it now bends back, has that spring. Rich, in reference to you addressing the Board of Ed, saying that now we're pointing it back at you, making a street a one-way has nothing to do with the Board of Ed. I have to say, I really, I take offense, not only as a resident, but as a board member. All the articles I've been seeing in the Shopper, it seems like, the finger pointing that's going on. It seems that, the mayor and council seem to be blaming the Board of Ed for your poor decisions and whatever's going on in this town.
That the poor decisions doesn't, you saying the council's making the poor decisions?
Saying that it would be an inconvenience, not making that a one-way, that was what you said, right, Mayor? And it's what it said in the paper, it would be an
That was also the council's
inconvenience
opinion.
to a handful of families that live there instead of a whole population of children. What's going to happen is there's going to be a child who gets killed or severely injured, and then we'll see what kind of inconvenience you believe it is.
Okay.
In reference to the crossing guards, again, the finger was pointed at the school district. That had nothing to do with the Board of Ed.
Pointed a finger at the school
Well,
district.
from reading the newspaper, that's the way it seemed. You need to, look at what the school district's doing. They got rid of the SRO officer.
Police chief made that decision. We did not.
Well, and again, I think, and to bring up what Mr. Conway mentioned about people being unemployed and salaries, and I mentioned before about you all receiving $5,000 a year. Disregard your $5,000 and reinstate the crossing guards for the sake of the community, because that's what you're all here to do, is to serve the community, correct? So that's what I do. I serve the community and I receive
Yes.
nothing for it. And I work hard at
you knew that
it.
before you ran.
I'm sorry?
You knew that before you ran.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But now in this day and age, in this hard
And
times,
by law, the Board of Education members aren't allowed to receive money.
and
I
that's
think
all
they
well and
should
good.
get money.
That's all well
I
and good,
think
and
they
I
should
do
get
it
them
knowing
in
that I don't receive anything. The point I'm trying to make is in this day and time, the economy that it's in, you shouldn't be receiving any funds, and it should be going to the community, and to the community means crossing guards for our kids. I think these are all things you need, and I really think the Board of Ed can't be the council's scapegoat
We did put one
anymore.
more crossing guard back on again, where the police chief thought it was necessary.
Well, I think I would appreciate it, you discussed with the police chief that he should actually try to reinstate everyone, because that's where they belong.
I don't know and not to be argumentative, I don't know if he took them off in order to save money. I think possibly he eliminated some of the positions because he didn't think they were absolutely necessary.
Well, I would beg to differ, and I think he should possibly speak to the parents whose kids cross those corners.
Well, here, we had a meeting and many of them came.
And I would imagine that they disagree with his decision.
Yeah, but I think they
Never
was...
is. But that's it, thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, Mayor, if I could just make a quick comment, and
Sure.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Chewinski, but he can correct me if I'm wrong. Claire, I think what he's referring to, and this is prior to both you and Mrs. Perna joining the Board of Ed, when the referendum went out to redo the schools, there was an analysis done, if I'm not mistaken, that showed that there was going to be an influx in the years to come, that there was a stronger need for a better parking system and a control of flow of traffic. At that time, the sitting board members decided to take that take that out of the plan because they were running short in other places because they didn't plan correctly. So I can't speak for for Councilman Chewinski, but I know that that's been a discussion point. Like, for example, over at 16th Ave, that called for, I believe, and you could check in, please, if I'm wrong, I think there was going to be a 50-car parking lot put in, and that was X'd out because, again, they didn't budget properly in the referendum, and they cut all that stuff out. But the need for it was because they had recognized in the years to come there would be an increase in flow of students as well as traffic, and that was going to help alleviate the problems.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm just sharing what I remember hearing.
Right, and I
from
hear
the
what you're
board.
saying, but again, you even made the comment that was a different board. That was then, this is now. I was kind of hoping that we all, as a community, as elected officials, could work together to make things better for our community instead of, again, finger pointing, he said, she said, we're not doing it, you're not doing it. Let's all get together.
Claire, I'm sorry, I'm all for that, Claire. You know me for for a number of years. I'm all for that. But you come here tonight and question, the public questions the raises that our department heads are getting, which in some cases our department heads, we didn't get a raise this year and everybody else did, is making less than their subordinates. And that's the job they took, and they knew that coming in. But I asked a question, and correct me, because I want to hear it right from you guys. You settled the contract with the teachers, I believe, in the last year and a half.
No, we're in negotiations again this year. That was,
Okay, but how much of a raise did they get at the last, which was a retroactive raise?
I think
Was
they were-
it not a 4% raise every year?
I think it was 4.
4% every year. Okay, just wanted to.
But again, a new day and age. And that was before Christie and his cuts, different board. We can't, we can't live in the past. We're here.
But that was recent, though, that final negotiation
Gentlemen,
was done.
ladies, we have about 3 minutes, and then we have to take a short break for the
It was a
tape.
year and a half ago. I've been on the board a year and a half.
I understand, but they
That
got
was even before I got on.
4% every year for how many years?
That would be 3 years. It's a 3-year contract.
No,
That's a
it's-
12%
wait,
raise
wait,
over
wait,
3
wait.
years.
It's 4%, and then your contract next time, it still has that 4% in it, so that 4% stays.
So sure, it's
Unless you give them another 4%, they've increased it 4%.
But mind you, too, I argued when I first got on the board, I have a husband who hasn't gotten a raise in 3 years.
And that's why I voted for you.
This is life. You can't be constantly giving out what you don't have.
And that's why we're trying very hard to do here what we do.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call a recess to change the tape. Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard after this? Okay. Okay, we're resuming the council meeting after we change the tape. Mr. Chewinski.
Craig, if I may, I'm sorry, Rich, I'd just like to say one other thing to Mrs. Kalinowski. Just for the folks who catch it, I clearly respect Mrs. Kalinowski. My issue is not with Mrs. Kalinowski. That were brought up in the earlier portion of the resolutions that we had in front of us about how things were being brought up, not really being the way they were. So I know Mrs. Kalinowski's new. So I think Claire knows that. So I don't want to make it look like when I see this on TV that it was me against Claire. It's not that at all.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes,
We
no,
know
because
it
we know
is.
it was-
Mrs. Kalinowski's trying to clean up some of the things that she inherited.
I just want to, then Mr. Chewinski can comment.
Excuse me?
I just want, excuse me. I just want to comment, but the salary ordinance that we passed on these people comes out to a total of $19,000, and they're basically the department heads who didn't get a raise while everybody else did get a raise. Mr. Chewinski?
Yeah, just for the record, Claire, I'm not for or against Gilbert Ave one way. I'd like the people to come out and be heard, and then weigh all the information, and the school board come and say, this is the reasons, and then we can face the people on that block and say, this is what we're going to do, and not just do it.
Well, I believe the superintendent sent a letter stating.
To the neighborhood? To us.
Mayor.
We know, we understood your position, but I said, I'd like the residents of Gilbert Ave here, that it's going to affect, just to have their comments too.
Excuse me. I've been to some board meetings. We don't talk back and forth when the lady's waiting
I'm just
at
saying,
the
for the
mic.
record, I'm not for or against it. If the people come out and be heard.
I just want to say, to answer to you,
Excuse me, it's the public portion. Give us your name and address, please.
Carol Pincaldo, 2 Paul Court. I was here a couple months ago to talk about the crossing guards. I was especially concerned about Paul Court and East 54th Street. That's where my children. I came here a couple months ago in regards to the East 54th bus stop for the St. Anne's children. My children go to St. Anne's. There's about 8 children on that bus stop. It happens to be the only one for St. Anne's. Even though they have it on paper that there's other children, the truth is the bus comes, picks up 8 children for St. Anne's on Paul Court. That's it. It's been like that for years. I voiced my concern about the crossing guards and one being taken away from the corner and saying, you know, I was very concerned, safety, this and that, invited the police, come down to look. They did, which was great. They parked their car right on East 54th Street where it was very visible so that all cars would normally speed and pass by did not, because naturally would you if you saw a policeman there? No. So it was deemed that this corner was not a safety hazard. Okay. They reinstated 2 guards, one on 16th Ave, and the other one was, what's the other street? Gilbert? The other one, on East 54th. Yeah. The one on 16th Ave has no children that cross the street. So the guards were put in positions for children that cross, not for bus takers. There are no children crossing Ave on East 54th Street. There are 2 children from St. Leo's that take the bus, who come out of a house and get on the bus. The guard comes out, kids come out, they get on the bus, and they go to school. How do I know this? My mother, Grace Avanzato, who was a crossing guard, pulled over one day to say, how are you doing? You know, we have a lot of children. The guard said no. As a matter of fact, I called the police department to tell them no children to cross. What happened when I came here in the last meeting and one here tonight is they tried to get rid of my bus stop. For St. Anne's children, the only one that exists on East 54th Street. The police tried to talk to the Board of Ed or whoever creates these bus stops and tried to eliminate it. That's what happened the last time I came here to voice my opinion. And I want to address the council to say, how could that be? How could it be that I come here and address something, a deep concern, a safety issue, and I get responded to by trying to eliminate my children's bus stop? I won't have it. It's a threat when you say to the Board of Ed, whoever creates the bus stops, that you're going to get rid of the bus stop altogether.
Who said that to the Board of Ed?
Who said that?
I had to call the Board of Ed because the bus driver and there were someone else talked to, I don't know if it was Captain Diddick, that maybe they were going to change the bus stop. I said, how could you change a bus stop that's the only existing bus stop for the children of St. Anne's? My concern is St. Anne's children go to school. There's 8 of them in the morning, maybe more in the afternoon. It's the only existing bus stop. And I'm here to let you know, I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate coming, voicing my opinion, and being threatened. So I would like to know how this happens. How does this happen when people come to a public meeting to address a concern, ask for help, and this is what happens?
Mrs. Lincando, how do you know that they wanted to eliminate the bus stop?
I called the Board of Ed, and there were discussions behind the scenes with the police department and the Board of Ed stating that maybe some of these stops on East 54th Street are too dangerous or what have you. They wanted to combine children so that they could maybe put a certain amount of guards rather than having to reinstate all the guards all along East 54th Street. And my stop, again, is not for the public school, it's not for St. Leo's, it's for St. Anne's. And it's the only one that exists. So, let's see now. Since I was a child, and my sons now have been going to school there for 7 years, my oldest, there has been a stop there. Now, you want to eliminate it?
So,
It's not like you can combine children going to St. Anne's that are on Gilbert. What's the, Falmouth, sorry, it was Falmouth, not Gilbert. There was another woman that spoke on behalf of Falmouth where they took away the guard. Her husband happens to be affiliated with the police department. Right away, a guard was put back there the very next day, because I went to a meeting at St. Anne's, and they said, oh, sorry, the bus stop was taken away. The bus stop was put back. Her children go to public school, and there are no other children going to St. Anne's that get picked up along East 54th except for Paul Court and East 54th Street. And I want to address why a guard is put on 16th Ave for walkers, and there are none. There are no walkers. The guard called the police department to say, I have no walkers, I have no children to cross. Yet, she's there. You can't move her down to where there are children and where someone came and voiced their opinion to say, can you help?
well, I guess first, it almost sounds like the post wasn't going to be eliminated, but potentially relocated to maybe optimize resources.
Okay.
And that could be a discussion that the chief had with the
You can't,
school
that is the
administration.
central location where all the children come. That's convenient location for all the children from St. Anne's that get picked up.
I understand.
And it was never discussed when I came here to move the location. My discussion and point was to put back a guard. You didn't put back a guard, fine. We have come up with several ways of making sure they're safe, you know, or trying to pitch in as, what was that man's name, I forget. Chief Financial Officer said we all have to chip in. So, fine, everybody's trying to chip in. Everybody's talking about raises and who's getting money, and that's not my concern. My concern is that I asked for some help, and they put guards somewhere to appease who, I don't know. I'm the one that came to voice my opinion, and the guard was put on 16th Ave. There's nobody there.
If I can interrupt for 1 minute, I think Mr. Boncino, who is the liaison to the police department, can speak to the police chief and see if he can get a clarification for you.
Maybe move it back.
Okay? Because now I understand 2 more people were hired. I don't know if they're replacements for school crossing guards or if 2 people were hired additionally. We're not aware of that.
If you put guards back, it's fine if you put them in locations where there's actually
Oh,
children and they're
absolutely.
needed.
If they're needed, they're needed. If there's no one there, why should you have a guard?
Exactly right. Move to
But you can't
Yes.
voice your opinion and then the next day worry
I'm
that
just
your
going to have
children...
Mr. Boncino, and then we'll cut it like the school does.
I
5
will
minutes.
discuss it with the chief again.
Okay.
Just one comment relative to the guard that was relocated to East 54th and 16th. That was done based on discussions between our police chief and the superintendent's office. And that's as far as I'll go.
Self
because
calls the police department to say I have no children, and I'm not making it up. I mean, I know this is to be the truth.
I will
And they should have, they said, no, you have to stay there, then it's been so many months, they should evaluate it again and put a guard where they're needed.
I will discuss the current allocation.
And not
with the
eliminate
chief.
bus stops where they're located conveniently for a specific school that is a central location, specifically St. Anne's. It's not for the public school, it's not for St. Leo's. It's for St. Anne's children. There's very few that get picked up. Been there for years. It's not a problem to stop itself. If you're not going to put a guard, that's fine, but don't put a guard where there's no children to be walked.
Exactly right.
Thank you.
Have to find out, Lou.
Anyone else who wish to be heard? Yes, in the back. Hold on a minute, hold on a minute, hold on a minute. No.
They're fighting over.
I don't think the chief would...
I would just like to thank everybody for the Christmas spirit that's existing this evening.
Oh, boy.
My name's Carl Roberts. I live at 260 Washington Ave. I've been a resident in this town for 32 years. Well, 32 next month, okay? I've gone through this high school. The problem that's going on Gilbert Ave has to be, the problem lies with the school itself. maybe we can start finding these kids, and that'll get them to stop with the traffic. There's a crosswalk there. We're all supposed to be taught, cross at the crosswalk, not in the middle of the street. Why don't we have a teacher or a faculty member or somebody else standing there trying to say, this is where you're supposed to be standing, take them by the hand like little kids again, and try and make sure that they do this right, because it's not fair. You want to make it a one-way street, you're going to kill a lot of the residents there trying to get in. It's not fair. We wanted to make my street a one-way, that we were told no. Why all of a sudden we start making it a one-way for this street here? Because it's a school. You can't do that. It's going to hurt the residents trying to get in.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Second time, last time.
I have to say my name again? Or I have to repeat my name again? But I really think that the council isn't emphasizing the safety of the children enough. I do. I really don't. I feel that, number one, eliminating the crossing guards, 11 crossing guards. All right, 10, because you put one back. And let me just explain. You put one back on East 54th. But let me explain. On East 54th Street, I think it's the hours that Ms. Pancaldo's talking about. There is a guard on duty for the public school, like when kids are walking or if they have to cross. There is a guard on duty for St. Leo's, the one on 16th Avenue. That's the time when the St. Leo's get. But there are no guards on East 54th Street for the St. Anne's kids. To my knowledge, there are no guards at all at that particular time, which is 7:50 in the morning. Now, I don't know, is it possible for a guard to move, or, you know what I mean, to do two shifts or something, like to do two different times? It's just a thought, something that maybe might resolve this situation. And number one was the crossing guards, and number two is this Gilbert Avenue. Now, Gilbert Avenue is already one way in front of from the boulevard to what is that street? To Spidell. It's already one way. So I mean, Mr. Tomko simply wanted to extend that one way to River Road. And we were told it was an inconvenience, and I think you're more worried about convenience than the safety of the children. And another thought I had was perhaps you could modify it. Maybe you could just do one way, I mean, I don't know, at certain times of the day.
If I can express my opinion, the problem that I see is you have a problem in the morning and you have a problem at 3 o'clock.
Right.
The rest of the day, it's going to be a one-way for everybody else, everybody who lives there all summer. You're only there 180 days.
There's no way that you...
Yeah, the police chief said he was
going to... I'm brainstorming.
The police chief said he would go down and take another look at it, and if anybody's turning around, coming back up, those people should be ticketed. It's their children or their boyfriends or their girlfriends that they're picking up or dropping off. They're the ones who are at fault, not the school board, not the council. They should be regulated in a meaningful way. I mean, the item that was brought up about crossing at crosswalks, that should be emphasized, too.
But
so
it's
what has to happen, and I don't think we should discuss it much longer here in the public without getting the police chief and your superintendent and the people who live there. Yes, no one wants anyone to get hurt, obviously. But the people, and there are quite a few houses there, all of a sudden they're going to have a one-way, except for 2 hours, except for half hour in the morning, half hour in the afternoon. Otherwise, it's one way for them. Now, if they want to go down, I'll give you an example. I don't think anybody's going to like it. You go out in the morning, you go out at 3 o'clock, you get a lot of traffic going up River Road, and there's going to be a lot more going up River Road. Are we then going to say at the corner of River Drive, and Gilbert, right turn only? Which means they would have to go past the high school, up Washington, up Lincoln, to the boulevard. Now, is that going to be even more traffic and speeding up that way if they're trying to get back to the boulevard? It's not an easy answer. So I think we should have Mr. Boncino speak with the police, with the superintendent again, and the people have to get involved. I mean, as I said, a half hour a day for 180 days, the people who live there are going to have to go one way and come all the way back. Maybe they don't want to do that. Every day.
But,
So let's not discuss it any longer here. Let's have him
if we
talk
could-
to the chief.
But
okay?
Mayor, why I do this?
What?
Mine was given to me one way without asking permission. Nobody came to see me. You want to make your street one way? No. One day I came in, it was a one way, my street. So why, it's inconvenient for me. I have to go around to go to my house. But I got used to. That's not a big deal.
I wasn't on the council back in the olden days when that was made. Anyone else going to be heard? Yes.
I just want to
Okay.
wish everybody a Merry Christmas and
Thank
a
you.
happy, healthy New Year.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Daniel Goldbeck, 44 Godwin Ave. My first question is, you just said the first time they did the one-way from Spidell to Elm, you were not on this board or
I don't
part of the
remember
mayor?
that happening.
Oh, hold on. You were the mayor, I know that.
Oh, okay.
So I moved in 19...
Okay, I just don't remember.
1970s.
that.
So was there a specific reason back then to make that one
If
portion?
I didn't remember when it happened, I don't remember what the reason was.
Okay. It's been stated that in the newspaper in here that it'll be an inconvenience, and then beforehand it was stated that the Gilbert Avenue residents have not been involved in this whole process. So how can we go out and say that it'll be an inconvenience? Maybe if we question them, like, if it's for the safety, we'll do it. We'll sacrifice that half hour or sacrifice that inconvenience for the safety. We don't have to, tell the news reporter that it's going to be an inconvenience when they haven't even gotten involved. I mean, this whole thing with the newspaper is getting a little, out of hand. You have articles quoted where they're trying to get funds, open space funds, and then crossing guards are being referenced to let's use matching funds for crossing guards instead. I think it's getting a little ridiculous with this newspaper with, the mayor being quoted saying that the council feels as you do on the Gilbert Ave extension, when we have one councilman in favor of extending it and one councilman neutral on it. So, I just want to add that on that. And
And I will answer that. When we had the meeting up here, there wasn't any dissension on it. Everybody agreed, let the police chief look at it and come back with an answer.
Okay.
Mayor, if I can
wasn't a
add
president.
something there, if I
Yes.
may, Mayor?
Yes.
I do believe, and we were all at that meeting, or those that were there at that meeting.
Except me,
Okay,
I was not at the meeting.
congratulations. The chief, I think, did say, and we could get it from him like you said, that a while back, and I'm sure he's talking a long time ago, because not since I've been on this council, that some study at some point was done, and those residents at the time that lived in that area did say that they were not for it. So I believe we asked them again to go back and check if that was true.
No, I don't remember that. I've been on Gilbert Avenue since 1973, August 1st.
Frank, you just said you weren't at the meeting, so how could you hear the chief?
No, what I say...
Oh, I'm just telling you,
Well,
then you can take it up with the chief when you go
Hey,
No,
listen,
he
go downstairs and
Richie,
see him, but I'm
No,
just
the
telling
chief
you.
did say
Let's understand this clear.
No, the chief.
We just
didn't
didn't
say
pull
that.
that,
That's fine.
I think
Okay,
it'll
let's
take
not
the
have crossing back and forth, please. Finish up.
Okay,
We'll make the best decision.
I've said what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment, though, if I can, to the young man.
I'm going to close the public portion, and then you can make your comment.
Okay.
You know it's a hazard.
I'm going to close the public portion. Mr. Conboy?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment, Mayor, if I can. I know we all, we all want to get going with the holiday, but I know the young gentleman, he's been coming to a lot of the meetings, the work meetings, and so forth. I've seen him at the Board of Ed meetings. But regarding the open space comment, and in the article in the paper, I actually would hope that you would be just as outraged as I am, because we talk about budgets and so forth. I'd like to know, where did the superintendent and the Board of Ed find $500,000 to go get $500,000 back from the county when they told the parents, if the budget fails, you're losing your bus? And I was at those meetings and they said, you would lose your bus. So where'd the $500,000 come from to go get open space when they say they have no money? $500,000, hire some more teachers. You yourself said that you need more teachers in the classroom. But you got $500,000 to go for open space? And you're going to tell the parents if it fails, you're going to get no busing? I do have an issue with that.
Thank you. Let's not have any more discussion from the audience,
But
please.
you need $500,000 to
Mr.
get
Convoy,
$500,000.
its public portion is closed, just like the Board of Ed. And I'm letting you people talk for as long as you want. I've been to a couple Board of Ed meetings, and I think there's a time limit. In this council, there is no time limit. Anyone else who have
Mayor,
anything?
can I say one thing?
Yes, Mr.
I
Ward.
just wanna
Last
say
person?
regarding about ordinance 1019. I hope everybody realizes we are paying out less money this year than we did last year, even with these raises, due to the fact that we replaced some people. If anybody bothers to look at the list, the tax assessor from 2009 is $68,000. He retired. We hired a new one for $30,000. That's a $37,000 raise. You look at the construction code officials on it, it's $75,000. We are now using shared services with Rochelle Park. We have a $35,000 savings. We lost our, she left, deputy assessor for $23,000. We didn't replace her. It's $103,000 that we saved, and we're only giving people $19,000 in raises. So we're saving $80,000 with this ordinance.
The DPW salary is down a couple of $100 from what it was in 2007.
So I just want everybody to understand that we're saving money here.
Thank you.
We're saving.
Mayor.
Nothing, Mr. Clerk?
Mayor, I know it's not customary for me to speak at this time, but if the council would indulge me. I think there's a misconception, and I was assigned administrative duties in May, and I think there's a misconception about what's happening here and how this municipality is being run at this particular time. I was first appointed to this position on January 1st, 2007. So I'm completing my 4th year at the end of next week. I can tell you that taking the police department, which I do not have governance over with my administrative duties, out of the equation, we have lost, mostly through attrition, a few others for a variety of other reasons, 15 people who have not been replaced, at a savings to this borough of $750,000. Anyone is welcome to come into my office and Oprah request the spreadsheet that will detail for you the salaries of the individuals that were not replaced, the health benefit contributions that we no longer have to make because those individuals were not replaced, and also the pension costs that we are no longer paying the state because those individuals were not replaced. So the Councilman Work is 100% correct. The department heads, who in almost every respect have picked up the responsibilities of those bodies who are no longer here to accept the tax collection, who are no longer here to answer the telephone, who are no longer here to process the Oprah requests from the public. Those people are gone. And the ones that have remained are the ones that have picked up the slack. I had this afternoon the CFO of this municipality answering phones in my office in order to allow another employee to go to lunch. When the mayor says we're bare bones, he's making an accurate statement. And I want you to know that since in 4 years, $750,000 has been saved through attrition. And for those employees, those department heads, and those non-union employees who have received less than $20,000 worth of a total increase for all of those 25 employees, I think that when you look at that comparison, I think that the administration here is running on a bare bones budget. And to compensate those people a few dollars in order to make up for what they have picked up in workload is a drop in the bucket in a $24 million budget. Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else? Last item. We passed an ordinance this past year with a maximum police at 40. It was at 45. Now, it doesn't take the police long to reach $100,000. So if we're 5 down, it's $500,000 right there, just by not having 5 other additional police there. And we're doing very well with 40 police officers. And hopefully, we can keep everybody working here, not lay anybody off. I think that's a priority that this council is looking at. And talk about stingy, yeah, I do have to agree with Mr. Convoy. You know, $477,000 was found, and where'd it come from? So, and that was with the school. So ask those kinds of questions there also. Cost us $19,000 to give people a raise. and they're the chief people in the community getting everybody else to work properly. May I have a motion
Mayor,
to...
we have an executive session resolution,
Yes.
if I may. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss negotiations for the DPW contract and the white-collar contract, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving that confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. We need a motion and a second, Mayor.
Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Conboy and Castiglia, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Chawinski, second by Mr. Castiglia, all in favor, opposed, so ordered. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming, and again, have a Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year.
Merry Christmas.